That's right! Welcome to the start of the ring of season 11 of Ringside! Because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're just gonna jump straight! According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Cody Rhodes was told, quote, in the fall that he was facing Roman Reigns at Wrestlemania 40. He was then, quote, told the day of the Rumble that Rock was facing Reigns, even though he was winning the Rumble, and that, quote, they would be going to face Reigns against him later. So my initial theory was that all of this was planned from the start, and they wanted you to believe that it was going to be Rock versus Roman, but it was always going to be Cody versus Roman, always. Maybe they were going to pull the rug from under you just to laugh, I guess, but they were always going to do Cody and Roman. That was always the plan. Turns out that was not always the plan. Turns out that it was always supposed to be, and I mean like supposed to be, like it was like we were not supposed to be doing this. It was always supposed to be Rock versus Roman, which is very interesting, and it makes me think that they probably just did it because they weren't aware of, they weren't sure how much time The Rock actually had before I guess he had to, go off and do like another movie or something. So they were like, well, let's just do this now, right? While we have you, instead of having to wait even longer, which is kind of odd because of all the rivalries that you would want to like try and get out of the way now, Rock and Roman seems like a little bit, out of place as opposed to the literal story that is happening before us, which is Cody versus Roman. But it's very odd that that's what they would have gone along with, and I feel like I said this already. That's a little bit weird that, nobody really wanted this, and WWE kind of just pushed ahead with it, I don't want to say Triple H specifically because it's not just him at the table. It's there's a lot of different people who are like, putting their spoons in the cauldron, if you will, right? So I'm glad that we're not getting it, at least, right? So, hopefully, okay, if you saw Elimination Chamber, it sounded like Cody wasn't trying to challenge The Rock at WrestleMania. It sounded like he was just trying to, so Cody called out The Rock, which I guess was supposed to be Cody and Seth calling out The Rock, which they might still do, but if you're going to do that, maybe they're doing that because they are going to try and do Roman versus Rock, but that's not happening, which it would have happened anyway, so I don't know what changed it, to be honest with you. Now that I'm really thinking about it, this is all very strange, to be honest. Next, if CM Punk never got hurt, the plan was to run a Cody Rhodes injury angle to explain why he was stepping aside for The Rock at WrestleMania. However, the plan to replace Cody with The Rock in the WrestleMania main event, quote, was kept secret from almost everyone, and, quote, even fewer knew about the planned injury angle for Cody. So I was right, the butterfly effect thing is true. If CM Punk never got injured, we would have had The Rock versus Roman Reigns 100% completely solidified at WrestleMania. Because Cody, and I way back, like a couple weeks ago, was like, I wonder if Cody Rhodes getting injured was the reason for The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, or the reason, I wonder if CM Punk getting injured was the reason for why we're getting the Mania change. And then I kept hearing a bunch of stuff where it's like, oh, it's going to be this, and it was always that, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe it's a theory and all this sort of stuff. And then, day by day, I was like, I don't really think CM Punk had a whole lot to do with it, to be totally honest with you, because I don't know if they were really going to do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, but that was probably the easiest path to go down, which is probably what they would have done if they didn't go with Drew McIntyre. But seeing is that now, well, from what I'm hearing, okay, because this is what I have to take away from this. This is not set in stone. These are all just rumors. There's a million and one different things that I've read that have turned out to not be true. And I find the injury angle thing hard to believe. I just find it very hard to believe. That's why I said it was very strange, because let's just pretend that CM Punk is 100% healed right now, and we are getting Cody and Roman at we're getting Rock Roman at Mania. That would still not make any sense. I mean, it would make sense because Cody's getting injured, but it would not sit well with many people. And I feel like we would still be in the same... I was just thinking about this like 20 minutes ago. I feel like the same exact thing still would have happened. We still would have gotten crowds chanting for Cody and Rocky sucks and all this. I feel like the same exact thing still would have happened. Did they know that was going to happen? Was that always the plan? This is the thing about, the honchos in WWE in that little writer's room. How much of this are they planning? You know? I don't know what to believe anymore. I just don't. I refuse to believe. I've got my tinfoil hat on here, folks. I just refuse to believe that they were just gonna just pull Cody aside, just give him the old shepherd's cane treatment and just yank him off stage. I just don't believe that for a second. Rock just randomly shows up out of nowhere. Why? Because he just so happens to not have any plans for movies, so he just threw him in the middle of it? That doesn't make any sense. That's like driving, and then you see a car on the road that you really like, so you bail out of the car you're driving and you try and get into that one. Like, wait, hold on a second, man. Wait a minute. I just don't believe it. I personally don't believe what I'm hearing right now. I think it was always going to be Cody, Rock, and Roman in some capacity. I don't believe the Rock-Roman thing. Finally, Meltzer heard that a group headed by Scott D'Amore attempted to purchase TNA with an offer where, quote, Anthem itself would walk away with $10 million in the bank out of the deal. D'Amore's group, quote, believed the company value was between $7 and $12 million. Anthem, quote, turned down the offer cold without making a counter offer. So then what's going on? Hey? Then what's going on then? Because I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again. So all I'm gonna say is this: something is something's going on here. Okay. So obviously, Scott had to have said or done something. It's like when you hear about all the shooting and stuff on the news. It's like some of these, yes, are 100% unprovoked, but there's a couple that you hear about on the news, and you just think to yourself, now that's not a coincidence. That doesn't just randomly happen. With RNG, that is not a plausible, roll of the dice. Okay, Anthem knew exactly what they were doing, and Scott knew exactly what they were doing, which is why Scott tried to make the offer in the first place, and Anthem was like, absolutely not. So one of them or the two of them has something going on behind the scenes. There's something going on here. There's no way. I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that. To roll all of this up neatly, I would be surprised if it came out that Anthem had gone under the table, unbeknownst to Scott and his team, legally, right? No, illegally, I should say. They did it illegally. And it's gonna come back to bite them, because the fact that this keeps cropping up and I keep hearing more and more about this, and it just seems to be very strange and shady and very odd, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, at least from my perspective. And I'm a schmuck. I'm Joe Main Street when it comes to stuff like this. But from what I don't know, man, from what I'm collecting, this doesn't really seem normal. There was no counteroffer at all. We don't want you to have TNA. Atoll, as my grandmother used to say. Atoll. We don't want you to have TNA whatsoever. Get stepping, And then the thing of like, oh, well, can we ask questions about it? No, you can't ask questions. Right? There's something afoot here. I almost want to go out and start asking questions now. I don't believe that, and once again, tinfoil hat coming back on, I don't believe that this is nothing. I don't believe that. And you can say whatever you want about me, and you can be like, oh, Ed, you're overthinking things. That's fine, I'm okay with that. I'll sit over here. I'll just wait, and if nothing happens, then fine. But I don't believe this. I don't believe that this is nothing. There's variables floating around that just make me believe that we may potentially hear something about this. Maybe not now, because legal proceedings take, it's a glacier pace with specific legal proceedings that, you want to take care of. So we'll wait and see how this unfolds. What do we talk about? It seems a little bit odd that they would have just happily ripped Cody out of the... Here's the thing. Daniel Bryan was never meant to be in the main event spot. Like, that was outright told to you, hey, we don't want him here. Like, we that's the point, right? Like, I don't care that you like him. Cody literally won. So everyone immediately went, oh, it's going to be Cody Roman at WrestleMania. And then The Rock showed was like, actually, it's going to be me. So for everyone to for WWE to just assume that everyone's going to look at that and be like, yeah, no notes, is very, very strange. Because why would they ever win? It just doesn't make any sense. Per Wrestling Observer Newsletter, Sylvester Stallone apparently has a scheduling conflict that will need to be resolved in order to work out a deal with WWE for an appearance at WrestleMania 40. Listen, love him. I thought Tulsa King was a great show. I actually like Tulsa King. And it's sad. Not gonna spoil it. I like Tulsa King. I don't know why he's gonna be at Mania, let's be honest here. Rocky? Sure. Fine. If that's really what you want to do, I would more rather see like Fletcher Cox or Jason Kelsey or something. You know what? Never mind. All right. F4W Online State Meltzer says the original plan for this week's chaotic episode of Dynamite was a match between Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta for the AEW International title. However, Trent was pulled from the card due to a legitimate illness. That stinks, and hopefully he gets better. There's really nothing much else I can say about that, mainly because I can't fully remember what happened on AEW because my brain, man, is just it's filled with too many things. And finally, Meltzer heard that a group. Okay, so if this is nothing, if it ends up being nothing, even if it ends up being nothing, I'm still going to be upset. Because I'm hearing a lot of things about this. And the general consensus is, Scott didn't want this. Anthem wanted it regardless. And Anthem is doing it regardless. And not many people seem too happy about it. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but everybody on Twitter who works with TNA all tweeted out like these emojis. I forget what it was. It looked like an eagle or something. I can't remember. It was like an explosion or something. It was something. And, so obviously they're in like solidarity and what have you, right? So there's things, do you remember when, Zelina Vega was like, I support unionization, and then she got fired? Like, it's one of those things of like, what's going on here? Like, what is really happening? So I'm a bit lost, bit perplexed, bit confused. Same thing with Cody and The Rock with this, right? Not everything gets past me, all right? My head's too big. Orbits around me. Goes around the back of my head, comes up under my chin, and that's how I catch it. All right? Folks, on that note, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.